Jason Miller was not a bad man. He wasn't even particularly remarkable. 42 years old, divorced, balding in the front, a little soft around the middle. The kind of man you'd see at Home Depot buying a new grill and think, yep, that's suburban America in a nutshell. He worked in insurance. Not glamorous, not exciting, but steady. Jason liked steady. He liked routine. His coworkers used to joke that he was so predictable they could set their watches by him. Same turkey sandwich at lunch, same 2 cups of coffee every morning, same drive home in his silver Toyota. On Sundays, though, he came alive. Sunday was steak day. He'd marinate ribeye with garlic and pepper, fire up his grill, drink a cold Bud Light, and feel, for those 2 hours, like a king in his tiny backyard kingdom. But routine has a way of hollowing a man out. His marriage had ended years ago, his daughter was grown and barely called, and the walls of his quiet house in New Jersey felt heavier every night. He'd sit in his recliner, TV buzzing with noise, and think, is this it? Is this the rest of my life? Just me, the grill, and reruns of Law and Order? And then the ping.
It was a message on Instagram. Simple, harmless, or so he thought. Hi, Jason. You look kind. Nice smile. Her name was May. At least that's what she told him. And her profile, a dream. Sunsets, beaches, her in a flowing dress with the ocean behind her, holding coconuts, laughing with friends. Her beauty wasn't loud. It was soft, delicate, almost cinematic. Jason stared at her picture for a long time before replying. Thank you. That's kind of you to say. That was the beginning of the end. Every night they talked. He'd sit in his dark kitchen, laptop open, her face glowing on the screen. She told him about her life, working in a little cafe, supporting her younger sister, struggling but hopeful. She was warm. She listened. She laughed at his jokes, even the corny ones. For Jason, it was intoxicating. He wasn't just a middle-aged insurance agent anymore. In her eyes, he was interesting, valuable, loved. And when May said, "One day you should come visit me," Jason didn't just hear an invitation. He heard salvation.
It didn't take long. Within weeks, Jason made the craziest decision of his life. He sold his house, sold his car, even sold his precious grill, the altar of his Sunday rituals. He packed 2 suitcases, bought a one-way ticket, and told his skeptical family, "I'm done with New Jersey. I'm starting fresh. I'm moving to Asia. I found love." They laughed at first. His sister told him he was insane. His coworkers made jokes about mail-order brides. But Jason didn't care. For the first time in years, he felt alive. The night before he left, he sat in his empty house, furniture gone, walls bare, echoing. He ate one last steak on a paper plate, drank one last beer, and whispered to himself, "This is the last lonely night." The moment Jason stepped off the plane, it hit him. The air, thick, heavy, humid. The kind of heat that wraps around your chest like a wet towel and doesn't let go. Manila was chaos. Cars honking nonstop, vendors shouting. The smell of grilled skewers mixing with gasoline. Jason's head spun. But then he saw her. May, standing there, smiling, holding a small bouquet of jasmine. For Jason, the world stopped. She was real. She was more beautiful than her photos. He hugged her like a drowning man hugs a lifeboat. On the 4th date, May said softly, "I want you to meet my brother. He's very protective of me, but once he meets you, He'll accept us. Jason was thrilled. To him, this meant things were real, serious. He bought chocolates, wore his best shirt, the one he hadn't worn since his cousin's wedding. They drove to a small house outside the city. Jason noticed the neighborhood was poorer, quieter. Dogs barked behind fences. The house itself looked tired, with peeling paint and bars on the windows. May knocked. The door opened. Jason smiled, ready to charm the protective brother. Instead, the world went black. A sharp blow to the head, a heavy thud. Silence.
Jason woke up in hell. A room no bigger than a closet, damp and smelling of mildew. His wrists tied with rough rope, ankles bound. A single light bulb swung from the ceiling, buzzing with flies. His head throbbed. Then he saw him, the brother. A hulking man, tattooed arms, dead eyes, carrying a machete that looked older than Jason himself. He smiled, but it wasn't friendly. Jason tried to speak, but his mouth was dry. The man just chuckled and walked out, locking the door behind him. Days turned into a blur. They fed him twice a day, a dirty bowl of rice, sometimes with a few scraps of fish. Water came from a cloudy jug. He was never allowed to wash. His skin itched, his stomach growled, and his mind frayed. Sometimes they came in and beat him, not to kill him, just to remind him, "You are ours." Other times they ignored him completely, drinking and laughing in the next room, while Jason lay on the floor like trash. At night, he stared at the cracks in the wall and thought, "This is how I die, in a country I barely know, for a woman who never loved me."
One afternoon, they shoved a phone into his hands. "Say it." Jason's voice trembled. "Mom, Dad, please, send money. They'll kill me if you don't." Back in New Jersey, panic erupted. His elderly parents and sister were horrified. They begged, borrowed, emptied savings, even pawned family jewelry. Tens of thousands of dollars gone in a week. Jason felt crushing guilt. He had destroyed not only his life, but theirs too. When the money came through, they didn't kill him. They didn't even say a word. They just threw him into the back of a van, drove for hours, and dumped him on the side of a dusty road like a broken toy. Jason stumbled for miles until he reached the U.S. Embassy. By then, he was barely conscious.
When Jason finally returned to America, he wasn't Jason anymore. He was a shell. His body was thinner, his face hollow, his eyes dark with trauma. The neighbors whispered. Co-workers at his old job made cruel jokes. "So, Jason, how was paradise? Did you find love?" He didn't answer. He rented a small one-bedroom apartment. No grill, no yard, no laughter. Just a man and his ghosts. Sometimes, late at night, he scrolled through his old Instagram messages with May. The smiles, the sunsets, the promises. And he thought, all of it was a lie. A trap dressed as love. Now, when people ask him for advice about online romance, Jason says only one thing. Don't fall for paradise in pictures, because sometimes paradise is just hell with better lighting.